Morning, everyone.
Morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Yama, Parak Zayin, Chapter 7, Mishna Beis, Mishna 2. Haraya Kohen Gadol Kashu Kairei, one who sees the Kohen Gadol reading the Torah, and Haraya Par V'Sara Nisrafim, does not see the cow and the goat being burned. Right? The cow and the goat that the Kohen Gadol shechted, and that he had said confession over. The Mishna previously said he cuts it open and takes out some of the inner parts to be offered on the mizbech on the altar, and the rest of the animal, which is really whole, are burnt. They're burnt in a special place outside of Yerushalayim, where sacrifices that are to be burned are burned. So we say if you're seeing the Kohen Gadol reading from the Torah, you're not going to be able to see. You don't see the cow and the goat being burned. The V'Araya Par V'Sara Nisrafim. One who is seeing the cow and the goat being burned, and a Raya Kohen Gadol Kshu Karei, he doesn't see the Kohen Gadol reading. It's not because there is some kind of halachic problem of seeing both of them. The point is there was a distance between them. You know, one was happening in the women's courtyard of the Beis Hamikdash. The other one is happening outside of Yerushalayim. They're both being performed at the same time. So the Mishna is saying that if you see one, you can't see the other. Not because there's a problem about seeing both, that there is an issue about seeing both, but you just can't see both because they're far away from each other and they're both happening at the same time. So what's the point of this Mishnah exactly? What's the point of this Mishnah pointing out that when we say that you can't see, when you see one, you can't see the other, it's not a halachic issue, but it's just a practical issue. What's the point of this? So the way the Bartanur explains is the following. We have a rule called Ein Ma'aviran Ala Mitzvahs. If you're involved in one mitzvah, you don't pass it over and go take care of another mitzvah. So over here, in this case, one who is present at the reading of the Torah by the Kohen Gadol, are they doing a mitzvah?
No.
A person who is present at the burning of the cow and the goat, are they doing a mitzvah? What's the mitzvah? What's the mitzvah? The answer is, the mitzvah is, there's no specific mitzvah. It doesn't say there is a mitzvah to go ahead and listen to the burning of the cow and the goat, and there's no specific obligation to go ahead and listen to the Kohen Gadol reading from the Torah. But when people are observing and are participating, there we apply a principle, B'roiv am hadras melech. The more people present, the greater the glory is to the king. So if there are people present at the mitzvah, that itself is a certain level of a mitzvah. But they're not participating in the mitzvah directly, they're observing it. So one might have thought that once I start observing, let's say the Kohen Gadol, once I'm present, so to speak, once I start being at the reading of the Torah, and I started that mitzvah, then I wouldn't be able to interrupt that to go watch, to be present at the burning of the cow and the goat, which is also a mitzvah of, but the more people there, the more honor to the king. It's the same type of mitzvah. But you might think that once you're present at one mitzvah, you can't go now and leave that mitzvah and go be present at the other mitzvah because of the rule of ein ma'avirin ala mitzvahs. We don't pass over a mitzvah that we're doing. Says the Mishna, that's not the issue here. That's not the issue. If somebody tells you when you see one, you can't see the other, don't think it's a halachic issue. And that the issue is that this falls under the principle of ein ma'avirin ala mitzvahs. You don't pass over a mitzvah. Because in essence, when you're not actually doing a mitzvah, all you're doing is observing, the rule doesn't apply. So when somebody tells you that if you're by one, you can't be by the other, it's not a halachic issue, it's a practical issue. They are far away from each other. They're taking place at different places at a distance from each other, and they're happening at the same time. And therefore, if you're by one, you can't be by the other. That's what the point of the Mishna is saying. The Mishna is saying, don't say there's a halachic issue when we say if you're by one, you can't be by the other, but it's a practical issue. They're both happening at the same time. It's not like one happened before, one happened after. They're both happening at the same time. And since they're too far away from each other, you can't be by both. Have a wonderful day and a meaningful fast.
Thank you, Rabbi.